My name is Chiara Moenter, and I'm a bachelor student of Global Project and Change Management with a love for space and sustainability. Currently, I have found a way to connect both of these passions, and I am conducting a research internship at the European Regional Office for Astronomy for Development in Leiden. And I want to tell you more about my research on astronomy and space science's contributions to the Sustainable Development Goals. Before I do so, I invite you to take a look at this image. Notice that we are part of a bigger system. We are all travelers on the spaceship Earth. We are all space. But how can we bridge this perceived gap between Earth and space? How can we share ideas of development and make use of astronomy? And how can we show that everything is interconnected? One way to do so is to make use of the Sustainable Development Goal agenda. By doing so, it will help to broaden public engagement and to open the conversation with the non-space related sectors. It will also help to create a link of global progress, aid in outreach, and give the opportunity for a wider range of collaborators, supporters, and participants. But now, I'd like to introduce the Sustainable Development Goal framework. The SDGs were created with the objective to produce a set of universal goals that meet the urgent environmental, political, and economic challenges facing our world. In total, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, covering aspects from health, poverty, education, to land and water management, and sustainable cities, and right down to sustainable consumption. These 17 goals are further split into 169 targets, and to determine that these goals and targets are met, 232 indicators were developed. Each goal typically has between 8 to 12 targets, and each target has between 1 and 4 indicators used to measure progress towards reaching these targets. The SDGs are a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. And the goals are all interconnected, so the achievement of one will aid the achievement of another. To leave no one behind, it is the aim of the United Nations to achieve these targets by 2030. But how does this link to space and to astronomy? Scientific knowledge lays the foundation for technological innovation and drives economic growth. Being a data-intensive and technology-based science, as well as deeply culturally rooted, astronomy provides many opportunities to foster development. Fundamental sciences, including astronomy, often lead to societal and economic impact after many years because they constantly push the boundaries of knowledge and technology. However, there are also many more direct and current impacts. So one of the challenges of a fundamental science is to demonstrate the direct impact on society. So creating an overview of links between astronomy and the SDGs on a target level will be a very valuable resource. It will demonstrate the relevance of astronomy for development and allow interested individuals and departments to see the possibilities of projects to carry out and to see where change is needed the most. It will also look to all regions of sustainability, providing a greater reach. And if the contributions of astronomy are well documented, it is also easier for other individuals and institutes to copy this development-oriented approach to their projects and maximize the potential of the field. Also, it will allow to have a wider reach of an audience, which will be helpful for outreach and fundraising activities. The IAU mentions the SDGs as part of their strategy and has split them by impact and influence. The SDGs that fall under impact are those that the IAU's activities directly impact, such as astrotourism projects, where the Office for Astronomy for Development has worked with the tourism industry to contribute to local economies, thus contributing to the SDGs 8, decent work and economic growth, and SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The SDGs that fall under the category influence are those where the IAU has secondary impact. There have been some projects of the OAD that can be linked to one or more top-level goals. But now it is also time to take the targets into consideration. The research that I've been part of was carried out over the course of the last few months To begin, a summative content analysis of the astronomy and space science projects and the coherent SDG targets was conducted. And this analysis provided findings of some shared keywords and phrases. Now, in order to substantiate this, the research then continued with some focus group discussions with experts in the field of astronomy and space sciences from all over the world to see if they could see a link between their current projects and the SDG targets, as well as any future ideas. In total, there were 4 focus group discussions, dividing the SDGs by biosphere, society, economy, and partnerships. And each discussion had 2 parts. The first part was a sort of questionnaire detailing the applicable Sustainable Development Goals and their targets and asking for any known contributions. And the second part was an open discussion where we discussed this framework and any ideas that were there, any ideas for future contributions, and also any limitations they could see to this system. Our research question was, what unforeseen and foreseen contributions can astronomy and space science projects make to the narrative of the SDG agenda on a target level? And as you can see on the graph, our findings showed that there are actually some overlap between the SDGs, the targets, and the projects in astronomy and space science. And actually, we found multiple connections per SDG. Now, even though our respondents stated that they did not know much about the SDG framework yet, and that the targets were very specific, they also saw it to be a quite useful tool. And the contributions to the framework happen on various different levels and expand over more than one SDG or target. Especially looking at biosphere and SDG 13 climate action, astronomy provides a very unique perspective. By introducing the idea of all humans as Earth citizens and of natural cycles showing humans' dependency with nature, a better sense of understanding can be created, which is very helpful for education and outreach projects. Astronomy also contributes heavily to SDG 17, as astronomy requires a lot of international collaboration. For example, many subfields of astronomy, like radio astronomy, cannot observe the entire night sky without cross-border telescopes. I would also like to give some more examples of contributions on a target level. So looking at SDG 11 and target 11.A, strengthen efforts to protect and safeguard the world's cultural and natural heritage. There was a project called The Universe of Our Elders, where 10 people from indigenous communities were selected to gather the cosmovision of their elders. Or looking at SDG 8 and target 8.3, promote development-oriented policies that support productive activities, decent job creation, entrepreneurship, creativity, and innovation, and encourage the growth of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. A great example for this was the European project SKIES, which stands for Skilled, Innovative, and Entrepreneurial Scientists. It was a project that aims to provide students in the field of astronomy with a new set of skills integrating open science, social innovation, and entrepreneurship topics. So my key takeaway for you would be to see that the SDG framework offers a new way of communicating and can be used as a guiding principle. For more information on this framework, you can check the United Nations website to see all the goals, their targets, and indicators described in detail. And another interesting site is also the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, UNOSA website, as they conducted a study called Space for SDGs, where they looked at how space technologies can aid the 17 goals. So, before you design your next project or activity, take a look at the SDG framework for future ideas and inspiration. This can happen on many different levels. For example, you can use the goals themselves as inspiration for guiding principles of sustainability. You can look at the targets as an indication of specific areas that need attention. And you can use the indicators as inspiration for measurement techniques for your projects. So I hope that with all of this, we can communicate that we are part of a bigger system, that we are travelers on the spaceship Earth, and that we are space. Thank you very much.